Mr. George's son had everything: looks, wealth, and fame. But he didn't have love. So his billionaire father disguised himself as a beggar, hoping to find one woman who could love his son, not his money. Mr. George was one of the richest men in Lagos. He had many houses, cars of all colors, and many workers who respected him. But Mr. George was not just rich, he was kind too. He gave food to poor people. He helped villages get clean water. He even paid school fees for children whose parents had no money. Everyone loved Mr. George. But deep in his heart, Mr. George was not happy. He had only one child, Felix. Felix was tall, dark-skinned, and very handsome. He was also very smart. He knew a lot about his father's real estate business. He helped run their big company, and he was doing very well. But Felix had one big problem. He couldn't keep one girl. Every week, Felix brought a new girl to the house. He would laugh with her, buy her expensive gifts, and take her to nice places. But after a few days, he would send her away and bring another girl. Mr. George saw this, and it made him very worried. One evening, after dinner, Mr. George called Felix to the sitting room. He sat on his soft brown chair and looked at his son. "Felix, my son," he said softly, "you are doing well. You're smart, and I'm proud of you. But this habit of changing girls like clothes, it's not good. Why haven't you picked one to marry?" Felix sighed. He looked tired. "Daddy, I've tried," he said quietly. "But all the girls I meet only want money. They want cars, houses, and big phones. They don't care about love. They only care about what I can give them." Mr. George nodded slowly. "So you think there are no good girls left?" he asked. Felix looked away. "I've looked, Daddy. I'm tired. That's why I just play with them and move on. None of them is real." That night, Mr. George could not sleep. He turned on his bed again and again. Then he got an idea. A big idea. "If these girls are only kind because of money," he thought, "then maybe I can find a real one by pretending to be poor." He smiled in the dark. "I will dress like a beggar and go out to look for a girl with a kind heart. A girl who will treat me well, even if she thinks I have nothing." And just like that, his plan began. The next morning, Mr. George called his driver. "Bring me old, dirty clothes," he said. He wore a torn brown trouser, an old dirty shirt, and an old hat. He put powder on his face to look older. He picked up a walking stick. Even his security man didn't recognize him. "Don't tell anyone," Mr. George warned his driver. "This is my secret. I want to see the heart of women, not their makeup or perfume." He started walking on the streets of Lagos like a poor old man. Some people looked at him with disgust. Some people ignored him. Some even shouted, "Go away, old man." But Mr. George didn't stop. He was looking for something special. A girl with a kind heart. A girl who would not laugh at a beggar. A girl who would treat him well. A girl who could be the wife of his son, Felix. It was early morning in Lagos. The sun was just rising. Mr. George, now dressed like a beggar, wore his torn brown trousers and his dirty shirt. His face looked dusty. His beard was rough. He held his stick and walked slowly to the busy market. He looked like a poor man with no home. As he walked into the market, people avoided him. Some covered their noses. Some turned their faces away. One woman selling tomatoes even shouted, "Go away, old beggar." But Mr. George didn't say anything. He kept smiling and saying, "Good morning." Not everyone was mean. Some old women who sold onions and pepper gave him small money. One gave him a bottle of water. Mr. George smiled quietly in his heart. He sat under a wooden shade and started watching people. Just beside the market, there was a small eatery. It was not big or shiny, but many people came there to eat. Mr. George saw something interesting. Every morning, a young lady with a neat apron and a scarf on her head came outside with a plate of food. She would call a little boy who stood near the fence. The boy looked rough. His school uniform was dirty, and his shorts were torn. But he smiled every time he saw her. The lady would kneel down, clean his face gently, and feed him slowly. She didn't shout. She didn't rush. She cared for him. Mr. George watched this the next day too. And the next. He asked himself, is that her son? Or is she just helping him? He was surprised that someone could be so kind to a child like that. His heart felt warm. Then, one afternoon, something shocking happened. Mr. George was sitting near the eatery when two Bayford boys came near the door. Their clothes were dirty. One had no shirt. They looked tired and hungry. Please, one said, we're thirsty. Can we get water? The female workers inside the eatery heard them. Go away, one of them shouted. You boys are dirty. Go beg somewhere else. Another one added, they're making this place look bad. Always coming here to beg. The boys turned to leave. Then suddenly, a kind young waitress came out. Her name was Esther. She had heard the noise from inside. She walked to the boys, knelt down, and asked gently, are you hungry too? The boys nodded fast. Esther didn't just give them water. She gave them hot rice and beans with fried plantain and a bottle of cold water each. Sit there and eat, she said with a soft smile. No need to rush. The boys sat on the steps and ate happily. Their eyes were full of joy. They smiled like it was Christmas. Mr. George was still watching everything. Tears came to his eyes. This girl, he whispered. She gave them more than water. She gave them love. She gave them care. The next morning, Mr. George returned to the eatery. He looked worse than before. His shirt was torn more. His sandals were broken. His hair was messy. He stood in front of the building and said, please, I'm hungry. The female workers inside saw him, but ignored him. One man eating said, this beggar again. Another said, don't give him anything. He comes here every day. Even the security man told him to leave. But after a few minutes, Esther came out again. She looked at him kindly. Sir, have you eaten today? She asked in a soft voice. No, my daughter, Mr. George replied. I have not. She smiled. Come, let me get you something to eat. She brought him food, clean water, and a small towel to clean his hands. Mr. George's hands were shaking as he collected the food. He was not just full in his stomach. He was full in his heart. That moment, he made up his mind. I've seen many girls, he said quietly. But this one, this Esther, she's different. She didn't know I'm rich. She didn't try to act special. She was just kind. This is the wife my son needs. He smiled and took a deep breath. That night, after Mr. George came home from the market, he called his son Felix to the sitting room. Felix, he said gently, I have something very important to tell you. Felix was playing a game on his phone. He paused and looked up. What is it, Daddy? He asked. Mr. George took a deep breath. For the past few weeks, I have been dressing like a beggar, he said. Felix opened his mouth wide. You did what? Mr. George smiled. Yes, I wore old clothes, walked around the streets, and went to the market every day, all to look for a kind girl. A girl with a good heart. Felix was still in shock. But why, Daddy? You're a billionaire. Why go through all that? Mr. George looked into his son's eyes. Because I love you, son. And I want you to find a wife who will love you for who you are, not for your money or cars. I have found someone. Her name is Esther. She is not just beautiful on the outside. Her heart is golden. Felix stood up slowly, still surprised. He sat back down and shook his head. Wow, Daddy, I don't know what to say. I feel ashamed that you went through all that because of me. Mr. George smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. It's not shame, my son. It's love. Felix took a deep breath. I'm excited to meet her. If you say she's real and kind, then I believe you. Mr. George smiled even more. Tomorrow morning, we'll go together. The next morning, something strange happened in the market. People were busy buying tomatoes, onions, and fish when suddenly, vroom, vroom, 4 big, shiny black SUVs drove into the market and stopped right in front of the eatery. Everyone turned to look. Who is that? Is it a governor? No. Wait. That's Mr. George, the rich man who helps the poor. People began to whisper. Some came out of their shops. Some took photos. Some even ran after the cars. Inside the first SUV, Mr. George stepped out. His white native clothes were shining like snow. His shoes sparkled. His smile was wide. Then, from the second car, a tall, dark, handsome young man stepped out. It was Felix. He wore a clean white shirt, black trousers, and dark glasses. He looked like a prince from a movie. All the workers at the eatery rushed outside. The waitresses who once shouted at poor children now ran forward, smiling and shouting, "Welcome, sir." "Good morning, Mr. George." "You are welcome, sir. We love you." They tried to shake Felix's hand. Some adjusted their wigs. Others tried to show their smiles. But Mr. George didn't pay them much attention. Felix didn't even look at them twice. Instead, they both walked quietly toward Esther, who was sweeping the floor inside. Esther didn't even look up. She was busy. She didn't care about the noise outside or the fancy cars. Felix tapped her gently on the shoulder. "Excuse me, please," he said kindly. She turned around and looked up. She was surprised to see the famous Mr. George standing in front of her. She quickly stood up straight and said, "Good morning, sir. Welcome to our eatery. What can I get you?" Mr. George smiled. "You don't recognize me?" he asked. Esther looked confused. "No, sir, but I know you. Everyone knows Mr. George." Then Mr. George laughed gently and said, "I am the poor old man you gave food to yesterday." Esther gasped. Her eyes became big. She looked closely again. Then she placed her hands on her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You're the beggar?" Mr. George nodded. "Yes. And I came today to thank you." He held her hand gently. "Esther, your kindness touched my heart. You helped those poor boys when others shouted at them. You helped me, a man you thought had nothing. You did all that with a good heart." Esther's eyes filled with tears. "I was only doing what I know is right, sir." Just then, Felix stepped forward. He looked at her and smiled. She looked even more beautiful up close. Her eyes were calm, her skin glowed under the morning sun, and her simple apron made her look even more special. "My name is Felix," he said, "and I would like to talk with you, if you don't mind." Esther nodded slowly, still shocked. "Okay, sir." Felix opened the car door for her like a gentleman. "Let's go somewhere quiet. I want to know more about you." Esther looked down at her feet. "Please, let me go inside and pick my small bag," she said. She went in and brought her little clothing bag. As she returned, Felix looked at her and smiled again. "You won't be needing those anymore," he said softly. Esther smiled shyly. She entered the car. The door closed gently. The 4 big cars started again and slowly drove out of the market. People stood still, watching in shock. Some clapped. Some took pictures. But the other waitresses, they stood like statues. Their faces were filled with jealousy and regret. They had laughed at poor boys. They had insulted a beggar. But now, they watched Esther ride away in a big car, sitting beside a billionaire's son. Did you enjoy this story? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, so you don't miss the next powerful story. Your support means so much. Thank you for watching.